Welcome back, dear viewers, and you are still watching Cairo Local Time, and in this segment of our program we will talk about the importance of the mega projects that were carried out under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. And now we are joined over the phone by Dr. Said Kholy, former Dean of the Faculty of Commerce at James University. Good morning, good afternoon, Dr. Said. Dr. Said?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
So, Dr. Said, as I've just mentioned, that many projects were implemented under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in the past 8 years. So, can you elaborate on the importance of these projects and to what extent they contributed to the revival of the Egyptian economy?
Let me start with your report where a lot of projects, a lot of development happened in Egypt in the last 8 years. Yes. But don't forget, President Sisi came after 2 revolutions where the economy in Egypt was close to zero. Our reserve from the currency was in the Central Bank of Egypt was very low. And also the infrastructure of Egypt, it wasn't really able to attract foreign direct investment. In the last 8 years, as your report mentioned, there is many projects which it never happened before. With all these projects in all different avenues. In agriculture, where we have over 2 million acres has been planned in Egypt, and also the infrastructure of roads, tunnels, and bridges, which it never happened before. Also in the industrial sector, where President Sisi, the leader of Egypt, started to talk about the fourth industrial revolution, and we saw a lot of memorandum of understanding signed with to build joint venture between Egypt and many other countries in the world here in Egypt. I believe Egypt in the near future, it will be the hub for industrial sector. And of course, people, they don't remember the blackout of electricity 8 years ago. Now we have excess supply of capacity in Egypt. And let me, you mentioned all of that in your report, but let me focus on one thing. Leadership is very important. President Sisi is proactive, not reactive. Proactive in terms of we faced the coronavirus for 2 years, and we came out of it in the positive side. With the rest of the world, it was in the negative side in gross development product. And also with the war between Russia and Ukraine affected the supply chain and the logistic in the whole world. Egypt, it doesn't get affected food supply. We have a surplus in Egypt right now, where most of the country around us suffer from shortage from food supply. All of that, it is really, we should focus on the leadership. Leadership of President Sisi. He has a vision, and this vision, he's a visionary. This vision, it really put Egypt in the positive side in economical term and in development term, and also it put Egypt in a different place in the world market right now. All of this, it happened in a very short period of time, and I believe we should deduct the 2 years of Corona, we should deduct the time of war between Russia and Ukraine, and Egypt is going on the right path, and they have a lot of development, they have a lot of foreign direct investment, and remember, when all of this project done, it really prepare Egypt to attract more foreign direct investment. I believe in the future we'll see Egypt in a different place, and we'll see prosperity for Egyptian people in a very near future.
Yes. So, sir, to what extent the package of economic reforms that was adopted by the government in the past 7 years helped Egypt to face challenges facing the economy like coronavirus and the current war in Ukraine and Russia. As we can see that the whole world was suffering in the past years from the repercussions of coronavirus and nowadays from the war. And we can see that the Egyptian economy is still capable of facing these challenges. So what's your take on this?
When President Sisi came to power,
Yes.
the first thing he's done is to build a strategy which we call it as Egypt Vision 2030.
Yes.
And without planning, we will never be in that position right now. So Egypt, they put a strategy and they work on it, the government and the people of Egypt also working with the government in order to put Egypt in a safe place. Remember, after two revolutions, we have terrorism, and now the terror is very limited and there is close to zero.
Yes.
And without safety and without peace in the area, we are not be able to have a development. And with the Egypt Vision 2030, we put plan for all different sectors in Egypt and work in it. Coronavirus, it doesn't really delay us. And remember, presidency, and that is the leadership. Take the challenge and remove and switch this challenge to opportunity for Egypt. Remember, a few days ago when the only country produced COVID-19 injection and have 30 million package sent to Africa. That is a plus. That's the whole of Egypt. Egypt, it is powerful. Egypt is close to Africa.
Yes.
Egypt is close now to Arab country. It's close to all European countries. It's close to the States and all different Asian countries. And that is the leadership. The leadership is really, it doesn't depend in one country and leave the rest of the world. Now Egypt is independent. Egypt make their own decision for the sake of Egyptian people, not for any foreign power in the world.
Also, President Sisi, during his presidency, was keen to improve the living standards of low-income brackets and the people living in rural areas. And he launched many initiatives to support them and improve living conditions in these areas. So we can also mention Decent Life Initiative as one of the most important initiatives that was launched in the past few years to improve the quality of life for Egyptian people. So what's your take on it?
Remember, when President Sisi came to power,
Yes.
the main focus is to enhance and improve and invest in people. And investing in people, in our workforce, in our people, is to increase the standard of living for
Yes.
Egyptian people. This, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time in order to really improve or enhance the quality of life of Egyptian people. Remember, all this development, it doesn't really get the result overnight, but it takes time. I believe within a few years, you will see a different quality of living for Egyptian people. You will see an increase in the gross rate for Egyptian people, gross development product, and the quality of life. It will be better for all Egyptians. Remember, during COVID-19, most of the world and all our neighbors in our area, whether European countries, Arab
Yes.
country, they were in the negative side. The only country it came out of coronavirus, of COVID-19, Egypt was in the positive side. Their gross development product, it was in the positive side. And that is the good news. And remember, all of this project, the return on investment, it will show up for all Egyptian people, and in turn will improve the quality of life for Egyptian people. And we have to be patient, and all Egyptians stand behind their president, behind their government,
Yes.
in order to overcome any difficulty. Again, President Sisi, the leader, our leader, is moving, he's switching challenge, he's switching challenge to have opportunity out of it. And we really came out of several crises. with terrorism crisis, we got over it. With COVID-19 crisis, we got over it. With the shortage in supply chain, we got over it. And remember, his really objective is to make Egypt depend on their product and service. We will be able to export instead of importing.
Yes. Also, as we are talking about Egypt achieving self-sufficiency in different sectors, we have seen the project of Tushk al-Khair and how Egypt was keen to has its own crops and to have its own wheat to face the current crisis. And we inaugurated this project recently, and we cultivated the first wheat in April. So how do you see Egypt's attempts to achieve self-sufficiency of wheat?
Remember, this doesn't happen during the crisis of Russian-Ukrainian war. It happened really 2.5 years ago, when President Sisi called for expanding the agriculture area by over 2 million acres in order to self-sufficient for our core product, which is wheat, and plant over 2 million acres in Egypt. And remember, with the shortage of water supply, they started to really refine our excess or unused water in order to plant this area. With the limited supply from the Nile River, remember, President Sisi, a couple of days ago, he mentioned our share from the Nile River, it doesn't really change it for the last 80 years. And remember, 80 years ago, the population of Egypt was 2 million. Now we are over 100 million. So the share for each Egyptian from the water supply decreased, not decreased. Given that now we are self-sufficient or close self-sufficient from all different food supply, whether it's vegetable, whether it's fruit, whether it's wheat, and now really will be able to be self-sufficient for our food supply in the near future. And in the human side, remember, Hayat Karima was one of the awarded program from the United Nations. No other country in the world have Hayat Karima like Hayat Karima, which really it goes for all different parts of Egypt, for rural area, for Upper Egypt, for the valley, and this it helped poor people to find themselves a high quality of life.
Also, the era of President Fattah al-Sisi has witnessed the establishment of new cities around the country, like New Ismailia city, New Mansoura city. Also, we have Al Alamein city and new administrative capital. To what extent the establishment of these new cities will help to solve the problem of overpopulation, and also gives a good reflection to Egypt and its civilization?
For hundreds of years, we have one capital, which is Cairo. Now we have the new capital, which it really, that is vision. And this expansion, it doesn't happen in the great Cairo only, but in all different places. I visited New Mansoura, I visit New Asyut, I visit New Swag, I visit New Aswan, and all of that is expansion. Instead of occupying only 7% of our land for our population, now we're expanding that for almost 20%. And that is the good news. When you open roads, when you open tunnels and all of that, right and left of this area, it will be developed, it will be housing, it will be social activity in the side of these roads and with this new city. And remember, all of this housing, there is no other country provide free housing with a very minimal charge for their people. And President Sisi really make affordable for all Egyptians to have a ceiling, and they have a house to live with, and it's equipped with furniture and all the electronic equipment.
Yes.
And that it takes a lot of our, it has a very burden in our budget, but really with the help of the government, with the help of social people, and with the NGO, stand together with the government in order to provide all this service for the Egyptian people. It is not only for upper level of Egypt or middle level, but for the lower level, for the poor people, with Hayat Karima, with 100 million healthy people. So health issue is very important. Education is very important. And that is the focus of President Sisi within the next few years, is health issue and education issue enhanced in order to provide a high-quality education and a high-quality health care with an umbrella of insurance for all Egyptian people. It started already in 5 governments, and within few years it will be for all, this umbrella will be for all Egyptians.
So, sir, one final question. As you were the former dean of the Faculty of Commerce in Shams University, we have all witnessed also great achievements in the field of education and higher education. Many universities were built across the country. You have twinning agreements with international universities under His Excellency's leadership. So, how do you evaluate all the achievements and the improvement witnessed in the field of education?
Dr. Khalid Abdel Ghaffar, the Minister of Higher Education, when he took office, he really focused on enhancing the research and development for our Egyptian university. For we have public university now, we have a private university, we have international university, we have technical university. All of that diverse kind of education. In the short term, it will provide high quality and enhance the quality of education in Egypt. And remember, it's very important also to see the index for Egyptian international publication. We were in a very low rate. Now we have a higher rate. We are competing with other international universities and global universities, whether in Asia, whether in Europe, whether in the States. Now our international publication record is getting so high. For my side, as the chairman of the promotion committee in the High Supreme Council of University, I assure you the number of international publications for the last few years, it increased tremendously. And now we are really focusing on to put our experience, to put our education, to put our research in international format, not in a local format. And also with the launch of Egyptian Knowledge Bank, that enhance the search engine for our graduate students in education.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Saeed Al-Kholy, former Dean of the Faculty of Commerce in Shams University. Thank you for being with us. And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of Cairo Local Time. Thank you for watching.